Hey guys, today I'm going to be doing a video comparing the Gibson SG to the Les Paul. This is a video I've actually planned on doing for a while, but since I received a comment from somebody saying they don't know what to get, I figured today would be the perfect day to make this video. I'm actually wearing this UFC shirt because today is the day of UFC 264. Now by the time you're watching this event has already happened, but I want McGregor to win, but I think Poirier is going to pull it off. And for the Wonder Boy and Gilbert Burns fight, I think Wonder Boy will pull it off, and also, I love Wonder Boy and I really hope he wins this fight. But anyways, without further ado, let's get into the differences. So, on my list here of differences, I have, in no particular order, price, weight, sound, comfortability, looks, resale value, and playability. So those are each and every one of the differences that I'm going to be going over today. So I'm going to start off with the price. The price of this Gibson SG Standard here is around $1,500 United States. Now of course there's a bunch of different models of the SG, starting from the custom shop, or I guess ending with the custom shop, and going all the way down to the juniors and specials. But this right here is just the standard. It's the main kind of flagship model of the SG. The equivalent to that on the Les Paul will be the Les Paul Standard, and that one goes for $2,500. That is a $1,000 difference. Now some of you may be wondering why anyone would spend that much more money. Well, if you keep on watching this video all the way to the end, you'll know all of the differences. Another reason why I ask you to stay all the way to the end is because I'm trying to get monetized on YouTube. And in order to do that, you need to get 4,000 public watch hours. So if you guys want to help me achieve that, feel free to watch the rest of this video in entirety, and that will help me a ton. The Les Paul and the SG are both very, very similar guitars, and they basically function the exact same way. At least for just the standard models, they have 2 humbuckers, 2 volumes, and 2 tones with a 3-way selector switch. They both have very similar headstock designs, and they both have mahogany bodies and necks. Now of course they look very different, but on paper they're actually very similar guitars. But trust me, if you hold both side by side, you can tell they're very, very different. Now the first thing you'll probably be able to tell by picking both of these things up is their weight. The Les Paul is a whole lot heavier than the SG. Les Pauls usually weigh around 9 to 12 pounds, while an SG usually weighs around 6. And of course the weight is just a personal preference. One problem that the lighter SG has is the ever famous headstock dive. Because the SG is so thin and so light, all of the weight is centered around the headstock area, and that will send it plunging towards the ground. While the Les Paul is heavier, I believe that this guitar is balanced perfectly. The next difference is the sound. Les Pauls will traditionally have a much, much larger and darker sound, while the SG, on the other hand, will have a much thinner and brighter tone. Now, of course, this will all kind of vary based on whatever pickups that are put in it, but if both of these guitars have the same pickups, that is what you'll be able to get out of it. The next comparison is the comfortability. Like I stated before, the SG is a much, much lighter guitar. Now, whether that means it's more comfortable is up to you, of course. But personally, I think the SG is a much, much more comfortable instrument than the Les Paul. And that's merely due to the fact that the Les Paul does not have any kind of comfort carving. You can see here, on both the edges, there is nothing gradual about this, while on the SG, it's a much more slanted in and angled guitar. And that makes the SG a much more comfortable instrument to hold. Now the next comparison is the looks. Now of course, whatever one looks better is very subjective, but the look of a Les Paul with a flamed maple top adds a whole other feel to the instrument. That's another reason why the Les Paul is a more expensive guitar, and that is that maple top. Not only do the people over at Gibson have to glue the bodies together, they also have to carve the top. You can see here that the guitar is not flat. It has a curve to it, like a bevel around the edges. You can see with the light reflecting off of it. Not only that, but the binding has to be glued on, and that takes a lot of precision and a highly trained person in the factory to do. The SG, on the other hand, is completely flat. It doesn't have the binding around the edge, and of course, it's just a solid slab of mahogany. So obviously that makes the SG a much more easy guitar to make in the factory, and that's part of the reason why they're so much cheaper. The next thing is resale value. The resale value on an SG is not going to be as high as that of a Les Paul. As most of y'all know, most Gibsons, over time, the price will go up. But the resale value of a Les Paul will go up faster than that of an SG. So if you ever need to sell a guitar and you have to sell one, selling the Les Paul will probably get you more of a profit. But that also means you're able to find better deals on the SG. So if you're looking to find good deals and resell guitars, then the Les Paul will be better, but if you're just looking to find a really good deal for yourself, then the SG is a better option. The next difference is the playability. If you play both of these guitars next to each other, you'll be able to tell they are very different. The fretboard on the SG starts up a lot higher on the guitar than that of the Les Paul. Just look how close the fretboard is to the pickups. That doesn't necessarily mean that one is better than the other, that just means that they feel a lot different. Another difference is how close the bridge is to the bridge pickup. On the Les Paul, it's a little bit further away, while on the SG, it's a little bit closer. Here is what I mean. You could tell that the bridge on the SG is a lot closer than that of the Les Paul. Probably the best thing that the SG has best on the Les Paul in terms of playability is how high you're able to reach on the frets. If you look in the back here, you can tell that the heel on the SG is a lot thinner than that of the Les Paul. Also, the nature of the double cut means that it's a lot easier to reach up since there's not a block of wood stopping you. Now of course, there's hundreds of different models of each of these guitars, so it's really important to try as many of them out as you can before you make a proper decision. And that kind of leads me into what guitar would I personally choose. Now if you watch pretty much any other of my videos, you'll probably know what I'm gonna say. And I personally would go for the Les Paul. In my opinion, the Les Paul is my favorite guitar. And of course, that does not mean the Les Paul is better than the SG. You really can't go wrong with either one of these, but personally, the Les Paul just speaks to me a lot better than the SG does. But now that you guys know what my favorite is, why don't you guys put down in the comments below what your favorite was. If you guys liked the video, feel free to click like. And if you loved it, and if you want to see more videos from me, please click subscribe. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.